wars of Marduk and his quest for power. Marduk, the eldest son of Enki, played a pivotal role in numerous significant conflicts and wars, driven by his insatiable ambition and desire for power. His actions had profound and far-reaching consequences for his family, the regions they controlled, and the broader cosmic order. This article explores the key wars Marduk initiated, the reasons behind them, his eventual takeover of Nibiru, and his cunning use of disguises and monitoring of multidimensional selves to consolidate his control. Key conflicts and wars initiated by Marduk. 1. Conflict over Egypt. Marduk's desire for complete control over Egypt, a region rich in resources and significance, led him to take extreme measures to assert his authority. After being granted dominion over Egypt, he erected enormous statues of himself to intimidate the populace and proclaimed himself Ra, the sun god. This act of self-deification was a clear signal of his intent to dominate and control the region entirely. 2. The Tower of Babel. In an attempt to elevate the status of Babylon and himself, Marduk implanted the idea of building a tower reaching heaven in the minds of humans. This construction symbolized their attempt to gain equality with the gods and was a direct challenge to the established divine order. The project, known as the Tower of Babel, led to significant turmoil and conflict among the gods. 3. Conflict with Nergal. Marduk's manipulation of the Euphrates River's flow led to a fierce rivalry with Nergal. In retaliation for Marduk's actions, Nergal sabotaged Marduk's weather control mechanisms, resulting in environmental disasters, including contaminated rivers and severe weather disturbances. 4. War over the Great Pyramid, Ekur. Marduk's desire to control the Great Pyramid, a significant power source and strategic location, led to a prolonged and bloody family war. His actions divided the Anunnaki into two warring factions, the Enlilites and the Enkites. This conflict over the Great Pyramid and the spaceport marked one of the most intense periods of warfare in the ancient world. 5. Exile and return. After being buried alive in the Great Pyramid by Inanna and subsequently released, Marduk continued his quest for power. Despite his exile, he eventually returned to Babylon, marking another phase of conflict as he resumed his ambitions, leading to further strife and warfare among the gods. 6. Destruction of Nippur and retaliation. Marduk's forces attacked and destroyed the holy city of Nippur, provoking severe retaliation from Enlil. This led to the decision to use the devastating Gandiva weapon, reflecting the extreme lengths to which these conflicts escalated. The destruction of Babylon and Marduk's logistical centers were part of Enlil's efforts to curb Marduk's ambitions. Marduk's takeover of Nibiru. Marduk's ambition was not limited to Earth. He also set his sights on Nibiru, the home planet of his family. 1. Secret cloning and training of armies. Marduk secretly cloned and trained vast armies on an abandoned planet, preparing them for a large-scale invasion. These clones were designed to be powerful warriors under his control. 2. Surprise attack and conquest. Utilizing his hidden forces, Marduk launched a surprise attack on the Pleiadian star system, where he destroyed the ruling dynasty. This act allowed him to seize control of the Pleiades and demand the surrender of Nibiru from Anu. Anu and Antu fled to a neighboring star system, leaving Marduk in control of Nibiru. 3. Threat of destruction. Marduk leveraged his newfound power by threatening to destroy Nibiru if Anu did not comply with his demands. This forced Anu and his followers into a position of retreat and regrouping, while Marduk consolidated his power. 4. Psychological warfare and propaganda. After taking control, Marduk employed propaganda to turn the inhabitants of Terra, Earth, against Anu and Enlil. He slandered their names and portrayed himself as the liberator and rightful ruler, manipulating public perception to solidify his rule. 5. Establishing tyrannical control. With control over both Nibiru and Earth, Marduk imposed a regime of intimidation and control. He used advanced technology and psychological manipulation to maintain his dominance, ensuring that any opposition was swiftly dealt with. Marduk's disguises and monitoring of multidimensional selves. Marduk employed various disguises and closely monitored the life data of the projected multidimensional selves to maintain his control and manipulate the human population. 1. Many names and forms. Marduk appeared before tribal leaders and other influential figures using different names and performing miracles to gain their devotion. This tactic helped him erode the power of other gods by convincing people that they were worshipping false gods and should instead worship him. Titles like the Sun God, the Shining One, and Possessor of Heaven and Earth were strategically used to assert his dominance and instill fear. 2. Intimidation and propaganda. Marduk built enormous statues of himself to intimidate the populace, and used holography to project terrifying images, creating a climate of fear which he could exploit. He perfected techniques of mind control and propaganda, using mass media to keep the human population in a state of fear and confusion. 3. Monitoring and interference. Marduk carefully followed all the life data of the projected multidimensional selves to ensure they did not succeed in activating their dormant genes. He aimed to keep humans in a state of disbelief and self-doubt, making it easy to manipulate them. He strategically arranged deaths and manipulated circumstances to thwart any attempts by humans to awaken to their full potential. 4. Control of frequencies. Marduk implemented a vast network of electromagnetic signals that kept the planet's frequencies within a very limited spectrum, making it almost impossible for human brains to operate beyond basic survival modes. This further ensured that humans remained in a state of fear and dependency. Through these methods, Marduk maintained his dominance and thwarted any efforts to challenge his rule or empower the human population. His strategies were deeply rooted in creating and exploiting fear, ensuring his control remained unchallenged. Conclusion: Marduk's relentless pursuit of power and control led to numerous wars and conflicts, driven by his ambitions to dominate not only his family, but also the regions they controlled. His takeover of Nibiru and his cunning use of disguises and monitoring of multidimensional selves highlight his strategic genius and ruthless determination. Marduk's legacy is one of manipulation, fear, and unyielding ambition, marking him as one of the most formidable figures in ancient mythology.